This year's horror releases, like the latest Scream installment, remind us of the past, present, and future of the genre and the ever-changing nature of these film survivors, better known as the final girl. I'm Dante Ramos, and this is MTV News Need to Know. Dracula Update Renfield hit theaters this past weekend and excited horror fans with a fresh take on an old story. The latest movie adds to the momentum of 2023's highly anticipated rollout of horror films. In January, Megan was a surprise hit of the season, and then Scream 6 shattered records by surpassing the franchise's original film at the box office. What's most interesting about these modern hits is how they reflect just how much scary movies and their sole survivors have changed in recent years. The concept of Final Girl was first introduced by film theorist Carol J. Clover in 1992. She explained that in early slasher films, generally everyone died except one person. In her book, Men, Women, and Chainsaws, Gender in the Modern Horror Film, Clover wrote that she alone looks death in the face, but she alone also finds the strength either to stay the killer long enough to be rescued, ending A, or to kill him herself, ending B. She later defined this archetype as the final girl, a virginal, morally just woman who ends up besting the killer. She historically has been a white woman also. Some iconic examples include the Texas Chainsaw Massacre's Sally, Halloween's Laurie, and A Nightmare on Elm Street's Nancy. All these characters' purity helps them survive until the end. Final girls have challenged the classic definition before. Scream's Sidney Prescott, played by Neve Campbell, marked a significant evolution. The damaged and traumatized final girl who breaks every rule could still be our heroine because of a generational shift where audiences could relate to her. In 2023, we saw the character trope continue to evolve with 3 standout horror films. Renfield explored the relationship between the legendary Dracula and his familiar Renfield under the modern lens of a toxic relationship. Our final girl is actually a man, Renfield, played by Nicholas Hoult. He is somewhat androgynous, mild-mannered, and he has to stand up to his abuser. Megan was penned by Akilah Cooper, and in it, the one who finally takes down the monster is a newly orphaned little girl who also is kind of an asshole. And in Scream 6, the daughter of the original Ghostface has to channel her father in order to defeat the killer. It's worth noting that she and her sister survive, and these lovely ladies are Latina. The final girls we are seeing now are far from perfect. MTV News spoke with Adam Lowenstein, a film professor at the University of Pittsburgh. He says the final girl is evolving to have more in common with the killer.
There's a sense that the final girl and the killer are not necessarily opposites, but more secret sharers, maybe two sides of the same coin.
The shifts in the genre that we are seeing on camera are a reflection of what's happening behind it. Horror was largely created for men by men. The 2000s saw a wave of women directors and writers who used their feminine perspectives to scare people. And more women than men began buying tickets to slasher flicks. Then there was the explosive success of Jordan Peele's directorial debut, Get Out, in 2017. Peele took home the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay, and it ushered in a new era in horror centered around Blackness and one characterized by films made by Black artists. For actors, especially women, taking a role in horror films was initially viewed as a career killer. But this year, iconic final girl Jamie Lee Curtis won an Oscar for her work in Everything Everywhere All at Once. At the SAG Awards, Curtis mentions how getting fired from one of her first acting jobs gave her the role of a lifetime.
I would have never had the opportunity to audition for a little tiny, no-budget horror movie called Halloween, which changed my life.
Horror auteurs and past icons taking home Oscars help legitimize the genre. It opens doors for a new generation of artists who are exploring new territory and dominating streaming and box office numbers. Screenwriter Chris Thomas Devlin, who penned 2022's Texas Chainsaw Massacre Update, spoke to MTV News about why we are seeing this progression in final girls and in horror.
I think shifting attitudes in our culture have definitely contributed to the evolution of the final girl. In the early days, the character was typically virginal and somewhat androgynous to supposedly make it easier for the adolescent boys in the audience to identify with her.
But horror movie creators are breaking the rules to appeal to more than just 14-year-old boys. The themes are a reflection of our generation, and now more than ever, we see ourselves in our final girl, and we want her to finish strong. I'm Dante Ramos, and that's what you need to know.